Leaving the pirate town. No guards moved to stop them as they made their way across the drawbridge into Grace's palace. "Here's hoping for no prison sentence in Grace's tower this time, eh?" Zeke laughed. Remy found it hard to laugh at Zeke's joke, considering the circumstances. Nightingale seemed to be doing a little better, either from the walk or just having a little more time to recover. "I didn't get to see the tower, but you guys all saw my house. That doesn't seem fair," Remy said. "Oh, it was fair." Zeke gestured up at one of the towers, crooked and covered with spikes. "We had to climb down at night to escape. Only Nightingale had any fun." "Yeah." A little color returned to her face. "I remember that," she said dumbly, still a bit spaced out. "The Duchess is waiting in her throne room," bellowed a guard as they reached the front doors. "Fine," Zeke waved a dismissive hand. "Take us there. She's the one we came to see anyway." "My dad's place is next, assuming there's anything left of it." Remy sounded regretful. As it turned out, they wouldn't need to make a second trip. Malik was already there, bandaged and beaten but alive. There were half a dozen black-armored attendants, mixed fairly evenly into the city guard. Remy mused that they must be on high alert for Aisling's next attack. "Remy," Malik hobbled over to her as she entered, wrapping her up in a tremendous hug. At that moment, all Aisling's claims about Malik seemed clear for the absurdity they really were. "I'm sorry, Remy. I had no idea she was going after you. After all the threats she'd made, Remy pulled away, resting a hand on his shoulder. "Dad, relax. You did your best to protect me. It wasn't your fault." "I wish I could believe that." He limped past her, facing her friends. "Thank you all for what you've done. You've saved something far more precious to me than gold or secrets." He shook each of their hands in turn, though he hesitated a second with Nightingale. If he expected bitterness from her, he was pleasantly surprised by her worn neutrality. "Thank you for bringing my daughter back to me." Zeke was first to escape from Malik's gratitude, making his way to Grace's throne. Romstead's Duchess had not moved during the display and sat with her arms folded. "Well," she said flatly, "I hope your escape was worth the trouble. We tracked Aisling down, but her crimes were too serious to try her here in Romstead. She's already on her way to Alinea to face judgment from the king himself. Patrick has ensured us that I'll escort her the entire way." Grace glared at him. She looked like she was trying not to yell. "And what about the hegemonics? Did you recover it?" Zeke faltered before finding his words. "No. We let Patrick take it. He explained that it would be required for Aisling's case." Grace rose to her feet, shaking with anger. "So let me get this straight. You four captured Aisling and then let her go with the hegemonics?" Zeke took a step back and tried to retort. "Well, Patrick said that—" Grace stepped forward, making sure she was close. "I don't give a damn what Patrick said. Aisling killed our best information broker. She tried to kill you, threatened your family, and you just let her go? Do you know what Balthazar might do to me if he finds out what we've been doing here?" Zeke stammered but didn't know what to say, so he said the first thing that came to mind. "What have you been doing here?" Remy sensed the tension and moved to stand beside her father, even as a few of his personal guards did the same. "Cousin, there's no need for anything so serious." Zeke retreated another step from the throne, raising his voice. "I don't give a damn about Romstead. You think I want to be trapped in a tower all day?" He threw his arms out. "I came out here to adventure, not rat you out to Balthazar." "You misunderstand," Grace smiled smugly down at him. "Since you're so determined to seek the king's authority, I couldn't let you leave without getting it. Consider your own crimes a moment. I'm willing to bet you had as much of Balthazar's blessing to leave Alinea as you had of mine to leave the tower last night." "Lady Duchess." Rook stepped forward beside Zeke, bowing low. "With all due respect, we have urgent business. We are tracking someone important. If we stay, they might—" Grace didn't let him finish. "You don't have a choice," she pointed to punctuate, and this time every guard in the throne room came to attention. "Arrest them!" she shouted. The guards moved to obey, closing in a circle around them. "Don't let her," Remy whispered. one hand on her father's. "Please." That was all the encouragement Malik needed. "Grace," he called, and the guards hesitated. "Please. I think we should at least hear them out. If citizens competent enough to catch a deranged murderer really think they have cause for urgency, we should not be the ones to stop them. These three have already done a service for Romstead equal to any inconvenience they've caused." Grace stamped towards the edge of the raised throne platform, glowering at him. "Be thankful your girl isn't in chains with the rest of them, Malik. If it hadn't been for her, Aisling wouldn't have had leverage over us in the first place." Grace probably couldn't see the way Malik stiffened, not through all the bandages. He did not scream back, only turned slowly to look Remy in the eye. He spoke so quietly she almost couldn't hear it over the clanking of the advancing guard's armor. "Helping your friend, finding this Theodosian. Does it really matter to you, Remy?" Remy looked up in time to see Nightingale's panic as guards produced irons to shackle them again. More than anything, Remy matched Malik's volume, though she couldn't approach his calm. Remy couldn't help but imagine the death that awaited Nightingale if she failed. "If they lock her up, she'll die. Please do something. Don't let Grace kill the one who saved me from Aisling." Malik sighed and turned away, then nodded very slightly to the nearest of his men. Steel sang as each one of them drew a weapon: short swords, rapiers, and a few flintlock pistols. The City Watch responded in kind, though they were far less unified. As they hastily drew weapons of their own, Rook shoved through them and cleared the path to Malik and Remy. Guards in black armor closed ranks around them, forming an even circle. Remy drew her own stolen switchblade and briefly wished she had something more protective on than Zeke's coat. She glanced over and found her friends were armed as well, even Nightingale, though the effort seemed to tax her. "Hold!" Grace shouted, seconds before the city guard descended on them. They all froze, watching her unexpectantly. Grace slumped back into her throne, eyes dark. "Malik, is this really how this has to go?" Malik stepped slightly between Grace and Remy. "I'm afraid that it is." Grace sighed again. "There's a price for stubbornness, Moretti." She made a frustrated grunt, and the city guards all stepped back. "Let them go." They didn't wait around to give Grace a chance to change her mind. Remy hugged her father again as they made it back to the streets. She glanced over his shoulder as she did, and saw they weren't being followed. "Thanks, Dad. You don't know what that means to me." "Maybe not, but I know how much you mean to me." He sighed in almost the exact same way Grace had. "When are you leaving Romstead?" "Soon," she replied. "We're going to make one last stop at Patrick's Dragon Arms for some gear. Then, the road." He hugged her again. "That's probably for the best. Make sure you get your gear back at home before departing." "Right." Remy returned the hug, then turned away. "Until next time." "Safe trip, honey. Save your friend."